Hey everybody, it's Charlie. I've been getting a lot of requests to do a new Superman Man of Steel video, and because they're in the middle of Aquaman reshoots right now, I figured this is a good time to do a big DC update because we have all the Shazam stuff going on. And if you haven't noticed, they've actually been running a stealth Superman marketing campaign in the background across both of these things, mostly with the Shazam movie because I think he's more deeply linked to that. But they also just added a brand new character to the Aquaman movie in reshoots and tied in a huge Man of Steel Easter egg. So they're like working Superman into these other DC movies because we don't have Man of Steel 2 yet. So you kind of start to see how they plan on using Superman until we get to that next Man of Steel movie. So I'll explain that Superman Easter egg in the Aquaman movie and then sort of like this backdoor Shazam stuff that's going on. If you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There haven't been a lot of updates about the Flash movie, so I'll just do a separate video about that when we have some news. But the first big Superman Easter egg inside this Man of Steel movie is through Randall Park's character. You may have seen that James Wan, the director, posted a picture with Randall Park saying, so happy to bring him to our movie. Jason Momoa posted a picture from behind the scenes. You see this blue screen down here. They're almost done with additional photography, right on schedule to drop a trailer at Comic-Con because the movie's not coming out till the end of the year. So they're usually about 6 months out when they start rolling trailers. But Randall Park is actually playing Stephen Shin. He's a scientist ally who's been a lifelong friend of Aquaman's human father that helps Aquaman develop his powers while he's growing up. More recently in the New 52, he had something of a villain spin where he gets really pissed off at Aquaman for not revealing the secret location of Atlantis. It kind of takes on a mad scientist spin where he helps Aquaman find a dangerous monster and take him down, but then he wants to use the monster for science and Aquaman won't let him. So we don't really know how they're going to use the character in the movies, if he's just going to be his friend and ally growing up, or if he's going to be somebody that's going to help him out with something small in present day. Because it's additional photography, it implies that most of the movie is already done. Usually low-level reshoots are just to provide some context for character turns, like if Ocean Master really hates Aquaman because of something that Aquaman did, but it's not totally clear why that event was so significant to Ocean Master. They'll add like a couple lines of dialogue here or there just to clarify that. That's really what it winds up being, unless you're like a Fantastic Four movie and they wind up completely reshooting the third act of the film. But in this picture of Randall Park, he's in costume because there's a slip of paper in his pocket that reads, "Existence of Superman," meaning that he's one of those people like Lois Lane during the Man of Steel movie that believe that a Superman exists, but they haven't proven it yet. So no idea where this exists in the timeline, like if this is going to be a flashback to before the Man of Steel movie or if it's going to be sometime during those events. But you get an idea for how they're weaving this into the larger universe. So whatever Aquaman's journey is during the Aquaman movie, Superman will exist, and obviously the Aquaman movie is going to jump around in time because they're going to tell his backstory a little bit. You'll learn the history of Atlantis. You'll learn what's happening in present day. For the most part, this is taking place after the Justice League movie because, like you remember, during Justice League, he has that conversation with Mira where she seems really pissed off that he doesn't want to have a lot to do with the Atlanteans in their way of life. Like, oh, you decided to grace us with your presence.
You all right?
At last, the firstborn of beloved Queen Atlanta. Wait! Please. I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
When my parents fought in the wars, she took me in.
What a saint.
You dare speak of Queen Atlanta that way?
Your queen left me on my father's doorstep and never gave me another thought.
Your mother left you to save your life. Cannot imagine how it hurt her. What it cost her. But you're not a defenseless child now. It would have been her responsibility to follow that monster to the surface and stop it. Now, it's yours.
Then I'm gonna need something from you.
So while Henry Cavill right now has been spending most of his time promoting the Mission Impossible movie, and I don't think that he just has a lot of physical time to actually go and shoot a ton of scenes for the Aquaman movie, I do think that they're going to try and include him in a really small way. That could be as Clark Kent. He could just be investigating stuff. There could be some funny tag scene where he has a brief moment. He could even appear on a screen in the background of a scene that like Black Manta or one of the other human characters is in. So you have to shoot new footage with Superman. You use him in the film, so you sort of invoke him without directly making it a big crossover film, because it's still Aquaman's film. It's not like Superman's gonna swim down to Atlantis and save the day. Like, this is all about Aquaman winning the throne of Atlantis from Ocean Master. So when we're talking about them seeding Superman and all these other DC movies that are coming up in the next couple of years, that's really what I'm expecting from him before we get to the Man of Steel movie. He's not gonna have a shit ton of screen time until that next Superman solo film. But the Shazam movie, so you probably heard me talk about Superman and Shazam. There's been a theory for a long time, and I think there's more than enough evidence to prove that he's going to have an actual physical on-screen role in a really small way, because you literally have Freddie Freeman walking around in a Superman t-shirt with the Superman Man of Steel logo. This takes place after the Justice League movie, so like all these little kids look up to Superman as a hero. Wouldn't it make sense that he would appear in like a really small way, either in the background, they watch him do something on TV, like, oh my god, did you see Superman save that person? Then somehow invoke his larger interests, because if there's a character as powerful as Billy Batson inside the DC universe, wouldn't Superman pay him a visit? Like, look, you're a weapon of mass destruction. I need to find out what your deal is. It's like Doctor Strange in the Marvel movies. Like, he keeps a watch list of all the most dangerous magical creatures if they come to planet Earth.
So I keep a watch list of individuals and beings from other realms that may be a threat to this world. And your adopted brother Loki is one of those beings.
Worthy inclusion.
Yeah.
So if Superman is protector of the entire planet, like, he probably keeps tabs on a lot of these bigger, more powerful beings, including Aquaman and what's going on at Atlantis. It's just that we haven't gotten to that movie yet, so there hasn't been a lot of time to reference what's going on there. So hopefully this gives you a little idea for how these movies are crossing over. The movies will use him in really fun ways, but he's still going to be a relatively background character, because this year is Superman's 80th anniversary. So while there's a lot of comic book stuff happening, Bendis is doing Action Comics 1000 with a bunch of other DC writers and artists. Henry Cavill will also be doing a lot of Superman stuff in the background too, even though he doesn't actually have a Man of Steel movie coming out. But just, wait for Comic-Con, we might hear something about Man of Steel 2 by the time we get there. If you haven't been following any of Zachary Levi's Instagram posts or his live streams, Henry Cavill will regularly check in and comment and troll on his posts, mostly poking fun, just like having fun with him, like, who's your favorite superhero? Or he'll compliment him on his workouts. So it's sort of a fun way for him to interact with the fans via these other movies and just remind people, hey, Superman is a big character in the movie universe. He continues to exist. I continue to play him, even though you may not have heard when my next movie is coming out. But if we already know a little bit about what's going on with Henry Cavill in the Shazam movie, what do you want them to do with the character in the Aquaman movie? Just like brief appearance? Do you want a post-credit scene? Or do you actually want to have a scene between Aquaman and Superman in the actual film? But leave all your DC video requests in the comments below. There's some Flash finale stuff we learned about the TV show that I'll post next week, but click here for brand new Infinity War, and click here for that Shazam live stream where they talk about Superman a whole bunch. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.